Welcome to this module on creating lasting positive change from New V8 Coaching. I'm excited to welcome you to this module, and I want you to first take a second to thank yourself for showing up and being open to new perspectives, new ways of thinking about things, starting with self-love as always, and working towards a goal that's going to bring a benefit to your life and those around you. In this module, we're going to take you through our 4-step process for creating lasting positive change, starting with assessment and understanding, setting yourself up for success, applying that change, and then reflecting on that change with positive affirmation. So the first step of this process is assessment and understanding. What does that mean? What does that look like? So what we're going to do is we're going to guide you through a process in which, to start, I want you to write out a list of all of the different types of change that you could see bringing a positive effect to your life. These could be things that are really big changes that take a lot of effort and time and consideration. But something that I want you to focus on is things that are really small, seemingly insignificant changes that you can make, but haven't made for one reason or another. What I want you to do at that point is make a list of as many different changes as you possibly can, of course, with the idea of bringing positivity in these changes to your life. And then I want you to take some time to rank each of these different lifestyle changes or life changes from 1 to 5. 5 being the most difficult, most significant types of change, 1 being a very simple, easy type of change that you can make fairly simply. Once you've done that, I want you to zero in on the ones, okay? I want you to select just one change in your life that you've marked or identified as a simple change with a 1. Okay, at that point, what we're going to do is we're going to work through this process where we're going to figure out the foundational principles of what it takes to make change in your life. The reason why we do it in this way is similarly to how people get their bodies in good health. That could be through nutrition or exercise, for example. So with exercise, as an example, you don't go to the gym after, never having been to the gym in your life or being way out of practice. You don't just go straight to the gym and put up as much weight as you possibly can and then just ruin your body and then regret that for the rest of the week or month. What you do is you go and you start small. You figure out what weight, what types of exercises are going to be a good introduction. What type of weight can I put on where I'm going to introduce my body, I'm going to introduce my muscles to this process, this template, this format of breaking down and building back up, something that's going to work in a positive way. So we're going to do the same thing with change. Okay, nobody just makes massive change in their life successfully and in a lasting way by taking on the biggest mountains they possibly can without any exercise, without any practice. So what we want to do is we want to get you familiar with the process and the foundational aspect of change to begin with by picking up a 5-pound dumbbell, for example, using that exercise analogy. So we just want to get you into the mindset of what are the different steps, what are the boundaries and barriers and fears and insecurities that you have, how do you set the stage for success, how do you apply these changes, and then how do you reflect on those. So go ahead and work through the module on your own time. Take as much time as you need. Usually this is something that can be done inside of a few days, possibly inside of a day if that's something that you're dedicating time to. But as you're working through this, please maintain that you are doing this from a place of self-love. Anything that comes from a place of fear or insecurity or I'm not good enough or anything like that is not going to support lasting change. The only attitude, the only way that you can show up for yourself that's going to support you through creating lasting positive change like this is the attitude and impression of I am good enough, I deserve this, I am a beautiful human being, I deserve to be the best version of myself, I deserve to feel good, I deserve to enjoy life and inspire other people around me to do the same thing. So everything that we talk about from New V8 coaching is always going to start from a basis of self-love, and this is no exception. So as you work through your list of things that you want to change in your life, make sure that you're coming from a place of self-love. Identify the different things, again, label them 1 to 5, assess which of those small changes you want to start with, and then go through, and we're going to identify the next stage of the process in just a minute. Okay, welcome back. So you've made your list, you've marked down from 1 to 5 the really big significant changes, the really small changes. You've identified one specific small change that's going to benefit your life positively that you want to work towards now. The next stage is to identify any barriers or obstacles that you might have in your way. These can be internal obstacles, they can be external obstacles, they can be a number of things. It can be environmental, interpersonal. There are a lot of different ways that you can get tripped up in making change. And one thing to take note of is that you're going to see, even with small changes, you're going to see different relationships that currently exist in your life that may be dependent on certain things that you have or certain ways that you behave, certain activities that you do that you are now transitioning away from. A great example of that is drinking, for example. That's probably not a small change that you're going to be addressing here, but it's a good example in that drinking is a very cultural thing. So, for me, I used to drink daily, every single day. It was a reward system for me for working long hours and that kind of thing. I had a lot of friends and colleagues, my business network, friend network. It was very heavily rooted in drinking culture. So when you have a significant event happen at work or birthday, people buy you a bottle of scotch. They want to take you out for drinks, these kinds of things. So for me, these things were barriers or obstacles for me to shift away from that habit and that activity. So just recognize what the barriers and obstacles are going to be for this small change that you're trying to make, and then figure out a way to set the stage for success. So you want to identify the different ways that you can remove, eliminate, mitigate these different barriers and these different obstacles so that you have a clear path for success ahead of you. Once you've identified the different barriers and obstacles that you need to address in order to be successful here, I want you to list those out as well and assign, again, a value of 1 to 5, 5 being a very high value, 1 being very low value, to how important having that element in your life is. So again, going back to a drinking example, if there is a specific person in my life who I notice on a daily basis is reaffirming or reinforcing a want or need or desire to consume alcohol, I need to weigh out, for me to eliminate this person or to address the issue with this person, how big of a deal is that? Is that just a matter of me talking to the person and say, hey, I'm looking at making some life changes right now. I would really appreciate your support in this. Don't ask me out to drink. Don't buy me scotch for special celebrations or whatever it is. Whatever the small change that you're working on right now, figure out how big of a deal, what it is that you may be losing or missing from your life. And then once you've identified that, then do a cost-benefit analysis. So what we're comparing against is your ability to take control of your life and learn how to make change. So assign a value to that. What does that look like to you? What value does that hold for you? For me, it holds tremendous value because once I've unlocked the ability to make change in anything that I do in my life, which is something that happens when you get really good and well-versed in this and you rehearse this over and over again, you can make any change you possibly want to make. There's an extreme, deep power in that I really appreciate. So for me, that's a big deal. For me to give up small things, or for me to weigh out the how valuable these other things are that I need to clear the way for, then I can make a cost-benefit analysis and say, you know what, this is my best friend, and I'm not willing to let them go as a friend. Fine, that's great. What other things can you do to set yourself up for success and set that environment? If they are truly your best friend, they're going to understand that this is important to you and they're going to support you in this. You just may need to find a way to relay that to them in a way that they understand and they can get behind you. But again, we're starting small, so this should be fairly easy to accomplish. So figure out what the barriers are, assign a value to those, and determine for yourself, logically, does it make more sense to hold on to this thing that I'm afraid of, this fear, this insecurity, because it's so powerful in my life, it's such a powerful thing? Or is the pursuit of this immensely powerful skill set more valuable? And once you've determined which is which, there's no going back. You know you're making a definitive decision as to this is clearly more valuable to pursue in my life, and we're ready to move forward and take the next steps. Okay, you've made your lists, you've assigned value to those lists, you've reasoned with why you're doing this in the first place, you've set the stage for success, you've done the work to communicate to the people that you need to communicate to communicate to yourself. You're coming from a place of love. All of the things are in place to make just a little change, just something really, seemingly insignificant. But really, it is incredibly significant once you've achieved this, because you have now have the opportunity to enact this change. This is your first steps into a new way of approaching things in your life. You are, for possibly the first time, taking ultimate control over what you invite into your life, what you encourage and support in your life. So this stage, you've set the stage, everything is clear, ready to go. Go out and enact that change, embody that change, whatever it is. For me, my first step, I remember I just wasn't a hat guy. I'm not wearing a hat right now, but it seems like such a silly thing. But anytime I would be at a store and somebody said, "Oh, you want to get that hat? It looks good." Or I'd see other people wearing hats, or, the sun is out, you might want to wear a hat today. I was just never the type of person that would wear a hat. I would do my hair, and that's just who I was. It's how I identified with myself. And then I went through this process that we're talking about and we're working through right now of realizing, well, why am I not a hat guy? Is this a positive thing in my life, or is this something that I could change? And it's really insignificant. It's not a big deal. It's not going to light the world on fire if I wear a hat or not. And it's really silly to talk about, but this is what I'm saying. Find something in line with this that works for you as well and that resonates for you. So what I did to enact that change is I went out and got a hat and I put it on, and the world didn't explode. Nobody looked at me differently. I had this programming on myself that, I wasn't the type of person to wear a hat. Well, what are the types of people that do this? Oh, they're sporty, or they're this, or they're whatever, and I'm just not that type of person. And this is a process of being able to rewrite that for yourself. Maybe this is something that you do want to be sportier. Maybe you do want to step outside of your comfort zone a little bit and just try things like that. So this is now the stage where it's your opportunity to enact that change and show yourself that you can take the very first step of modeling this behavior for yourself. And then from that point, we move on to the next stage, which is reflection and affirmation. So in this stage of reflection and affirmation, what we want to do here is we want to take a look and assess all of the things that happened. We made the list, we set the stage, cleared the way, we enacted the change. What happened around that? What happened internally to us? How did we show up? What are the feelings that came up in us? Were we triggered by anything? Were there any insecurities or traumas that were reflected in the change that we were trying to make? How did the people around us react? Were there people close to us that changed their behavior, changed how they see us? Did they have a hard time with this small change that we were trying to enact? Were there people that we're not close with, people in the workplace, people just in the community? Did you notice any change in how they showed up in your life? And just make yourself aware of the different changes that have come about. Are there people that really didn't like it? If so, how important are those people to you? Are there conversations that you might want to have to ease the transition for the next change that you want to apply? Was it worth it? It's really important to reassess and revisit the changes that you're making, and making sure that they are truly valuable changes that you want to make. So this assessment and reflection section is really important to understand. Was this a valuable exercise for you to go through? I'm sure it will be. But if not, that's worth noting and revisiting. And then celebrate yourself. Again, all of this is coming from a basis of self-love. So it's really important to revisit that and support the wins that you have. If you've now made this change and you've stuck with this change, and all of a sudden you're starting to see yourself in a different light. I'm not a hat person anymore. I can wear a hat if I need to, if it makes sense to, if I'm in a hurry, if the sun's out, these kinds of things. Celebrate that change. You just had your first milestone in being able to set out a goal to make change in your life. You followed a process that works for you, and you achieved that goal. You've lifted that 5-pound dumbbell. Now it's time to add a little bit of weight, or continue with those reps if that's what you feel is good for you. So at this stage, what you want to do is you want to go back through this exercise again. Look at that original list that you put together. Is there another number 1 that you want to tackle? Is there a number 2 that's looking you in the face saying, hey, we want to make this change? And that's great. Cycle through those steps again. Do the exact same process bit by bit. And there's no rush to do this, okay? Do this on your own time with whatever feels good. It's not critical that you make a high volume of change. The focus that we need to maintain here is that the change that you're making is positive and lasting. So keep embodying and enacting that change over and over again over the course of weeks, months, whatever it is. Ask for help. Set the stage up for success wherever you can. And then once you've figured out how to work that muscle, then put a little bit more weight on it. Then try a bigger change. What we're doing is we're learning how to change. We're learning how to enact this process, to go through this process of change. And once you're able to do it with smaller, less significant, less scary things, all of a sudden when you start adding weight on and you have big lifestyle changes, health habit changes, work habit changes, friend and family, sexuality changes, all of these different things that you want to see changed in a positive way in your life are going to be so much more within your grasp. So at this point, I want to thank you for showing up for yourself. I want to appreciate you. This is a beautiful journey. It's really exciting. I want to hear all about the small changes, the medium changes, the big changes that you're making. So please write into us or comment. It's always great to hear people's stories and see how this process pays off for people. So thank yourself for showing up. Thank yourself for prioritizing self-love and knowing that you can be the best version of yourself that you want to be. So thank you. I hope you enjoyed this module. I hope that you enjoyed the change that you've been able to make. And if you have any other questions, please contact us directly. We do offer one-to-one coaching as well, and we will have more modules that we're building out right now that will be available to the public soon. And we also have other resources with the podcasts that we have available for women and men, with Women Talking for Men Listening. We have the Buddhist Executive Podcast, which I highly encourage you support yourself with as well. And then the New Normal podcast for any business people out there as well. Okay, thank you so much. And we're looking forward to creating more content for you and seeing you, guiding you on this journey. Okay.